Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest on the very unsettled and potentially quite stormy weather we have coming up over the next few days and into the start of next working week. It's looking really quite horrible for quite a few areas. We now do have a yellow rain warning in force for Saturday, and I do suspect we will see many more yellow warnings issued over the coming days, and you couldn't even roll out a few areas seeing maybe even amber warnings as well. So we're going to see a lot of heavy rain, widespread heavy rain that is, with some thunderstorms around within it as well. And we could also see some very gusty winds, especially next week. Maybe 50, 60, 70 mile per hour gusts are looking quite likely in the west and the south. Maybe higher if we do see more localized low pressure system move in, but that is still a little bit uncertain. We'll have a look at the mid to longer range, look at the possibility of that. But yeah, we are ending meteorological summer. It's the 1st of September now. We are officially into meteorological autumn, even though we can still see really nice summer weather in September. It looks like the weather this year is really flicking a switch. It is still reasonably dry, reasonably warm today, but by tomorrow it does look likely it is going to be very unsettled and turning cooler in from the west. So do make sure you do enjoy the dry weather today, as it does look likely this is going to be the last widespread dry day for perhaps a number of weeks. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well. The link's in the description. Now, if you start on live radar, you can see it is widely quite dry and quite warm. We do have some thicker cloud in the south. We've got a small low pressure system just across the north of France. It's producing some heavy thundery showers there, and it has asserted its influence a little bit on southern England. Now, we didn't see this in the UKV yesterday or over the previous days. It really has popped up in the last day or two, a bit more instability across southern England. So we're seeing these few showers break out. Most of them are light, but there are some heavier pulses in some of these showers. And it looks like tonight into early hours of tomorrow morning, these showers could pep up, turning to a bit of a longer spell of precipitation, but it should mostly fall overnight, so it shouldn't be too bad, but it is still there, so it's still going to bring some precipitation, and there's more widespread thicker cloud. Further northwards and generally most other areas, it is pretty dry and it is pretty warm. Temperatures still rising towards the mid-20s today, 24 to 26 degrees. Top temperature widely low 20s. So another pretty decent, pleasant day, apart from perhaps those few areas just to the north and the west of London. But it will become more widespread over the course of this evening and overnight. But we won't be able to see it here because the radar only extends just offshore. But there's a big low pressure system that is exiting Iceland and southern Greenland as we speak, and it's heading towards the UK. It's going to park up to our west, and it's going to be spiralling in plenty of heavy, thundery showers over the next couple of days, and could be producing some very stormy conditions as we head into the early days of next working week. Now, if you put on those temperatures right now, you'll be able to see that it's not too bad. I'm recording this just before 2 p.m. and you can see, again, widespread oranges, so pretty decent conditions. Again, you can see just where those showers are, and the thicker cloud across the M4 line through London. You can see slightly lighter colours there, so slightly cooler conditions. But where we're away from those showers, you can see these oranges and little patches of reds appearing, especially across East Anglia, the south coast, along to Kent, Essex, and up towards Liverpool as well, looking really quite nice. And just widely into the oranges, which is high teens, low 20s widely, above average for the time of year, and getting towards maybe the mid-20s in these darker spots. But these temperatures will be still warm in the east, but we're going to have a lot of risk of heavy showers and thunderstorms. That is one thing as we go through the next few days. We've got still warm air pumping on the east side of this low pressure system. It could mean temperatures getting to the mid to high 20s across East Anglia, the London area, maybe East Midlands, South East England, but it's going to be accompanied by heavy showers and storms, and the warmer air mass could even power up those showers and storms even more. So yeah, the upper air temperatures don't look too bad over the next week or so. A lot cooler in the west, but in the east still quite warm, but we've got a lot of instability and a lot of showers around. So that is one thing we of course are going to be keeping our eye on. Now, if you look at the weather warnings, we do have one weather warning issued. That is a rain warning for Saturday across Northern Ireland and southwestern parts of Scotland. I am expecting more weather warnings to be issued, perhaps even for Saturday, but most likely for Sunday through to Wednesday time. But again, I think it's too far in advance at this stage with the uncertainty there is to be putting those warnings in. So perhaps tomorrow or Saturday we'll see more warnings put in. But For the whole 24 hours of Saturday, occasional periods of heavy rain through Saturday may lead to travel disruption. Again, looking at the further details, areas of heavy rain are expected to pulse northwards across much of Northern Ireland and southwest Scotland through Saturday, potentially accompanied by thunderstorms. So the big thing here is the heavy precipitation, but we could also see intense areas of precipitation, some big thunderstorms within that, as we do have a lot of instability around, could see some warmer air tap in, and there are moderate Cape levels. Now, we're not going to concentrate on the thunderstorm risk at this stage because it is medium to low risk, but it is there, and if we do see an increased risk of that in the models this evening or tomorrow, we will put that into tomorrow's video, looking at that on all the shorter range models, like the Cape and various precipitation charts. But today we'll just stick on the UKV, as again, the rainfall and the widespread heavy rain is the biggest impact from this. Rainfall totals of 30 to 40 millimetres could fall in 2 to 3 hours in some places, with a low risk of 80 to 100 millimetres in 24 hours, bringing localised flooding and travel disruption. Again, with this, it's very high impact but low likelihood, because we've just got areas of instability, areas of precipitation just thrown at us from the west, and it's very difficult to predict where the heaviest precipitation will form, because a lot of this is convection based, a lot of it is up and down, precipitation forming at very short notice, precipitation dissipating at very short notice, so it is extremely difficult to forecast. But within this yellow warning zone, we are likely to see some very heavy precipitation at times, and elsewhere as well, just lower likelihood, and I do expect through Sunday, Monday and Tuesday more instability pushes eastwards, and we could see more heavy rain there. Now, if we go to the UKV and have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, you can see earlier this morning it was completely dry. As we head to this afternoon, you see those few showers across southern England, but elsewhere, especially further northwards, it's really quite sunny and really quite pleasant and nice. As we head through to Friday, though, you can see through the early hours, we see that area of precipitation across the south that was not forecasted at all yesterday or the day before, pepping up a little bit more, turning into quite a sustained period of rain there through central southern England. Could see a bit of rainfall there, maybe 6 millimetres or 12 millimetres or so, so a quarter of an inch to maybe half an inch if possible in some of these areas, but it is falling mostly overnight, and by Friday afternoon that precipitation has dissipated, but we've got the heavy precipitation starting to push in from the west, maybe some heavy showers and thunderstorms breaking out, but we're only just edging on the instability. But through Northern Ireland, Western Scotland and Republic of Ireland, heavy precipitation, thicker cloud is pushing in. Through areas of England and Wales could see some pop-up showers or storms. But it's as we head through to Saturday afternoon, look at that at 3 p.m, big extension of heavy showers and storms. We've got an initial area of instability pushing eastwards through the late morning and early afternoon, giving heavy, thundery rain for some. And then we've got another weather front pushing through Saturday afternoon that just sits across western parts through Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales and southwest England, with heavy showers pushing in behind. And then through Sunday, as I said, we're just going to get another area of heavy precipitation just pushed at us from the west, giving widespread heavy thundery rain. You can see the centre of the low there sitting over Republic of Ireland, or at least the centre of a low pressure system there within the large area of lower pressure. Just heavy thundery showers and heavy precipitation just pushing eastwards. And again through Monday, another batch of heavy thundery showers pushing through, and it just continues with this barrage of heavy rain and thunderstorms. A lot of red showing up here, which is torrential precipitation, and I'm expecting widely areas to be getting 25 to 50 millimetres over the next 5 days. Some areas, as the UK Met Office yellow warning said, we could see areas getting up to 100 millimetres in a day, so some areas could get 100 to 200 millimetres locally, but I think widely 25 to 50 millimetres is quite likely in a lot of areas. Some areas maybe slightly lower, other areas probably a little bit higher, but just widespread quite high rainfall totals, and it's just continuing, and there's no real respite in this. It's just going to continue throughout the next few days beyond that. Now, one thing I do want to say is, though, these precipitation charts are very much up and down. They are changing and chopping and changing between each run, because it is, as I said earlier, it's very difficult to forecast where this precipitation is falling, and where it is forming, where it's dissipating, and where it's going to be most with the most intensity. So, yeah, it's very difficult to say what's going to be happening with this. So we're just got to keep an eye on it, and keep an eye on the weather warnings as well. Again, we are still a good few days away from some of this very heavy precipitation pushing in. So again, we'll update this tomorrow and see what it is showing tomorrow. But yeah, widespread heavy shower and thunderstorm risk starting widely on Saturday. A few areas on Friday, but widely Saturday, Sunday. Monday, Tuesday and beyond. And the reason for this, it's got a big low pressure system parked to our west. You can see that getting down to 990 millibars there, probably towards the centre, just off the west of Ireland. Strong winds around that low as well. Again, when you look at the wind gusts, you can see areas getting up to 40, 50, maybe 60, 70 miles per hour at times. But again, that all is accompanied by the heavy precipitation. You see those wind speeds pick up at times, but other times it's lower. So it's going to be on and off. Big wind gusts, and as I said, in the mid to longer range, when there's possibility of small, more localised low pressure systems pushing in, we could see those wind gusts getting excess of 70, 80 miles per hour or even higher. One of the big things fueling this, as I said, we've still got very warm air masses to our east. Look, 11, 12 degrees at NGFT HP in their east. That is well above average, good few degrees above average, but towards the west, only 5 or 6 degrees, and it's actually cooler than that initially. And it's that temperature gradient which is fueling the showers, but also the general warmth from this humid air mass in the east is also fueling those thunderstorms and showers, because it's going to be quite unlikely that the occluded fronts that we have and the weather fronts in general progress particularly far eastwards, but we're still going to see that heavy shower and thunderstorm risk in the east because we've still got instability. So it's likely that eastern areas are not going to get the persistent heavy rain where it's sort of raining on hours on end, but is likely to see on and off very heavy thundery showers, and that is the big risk from this. So areas in the east could have very high rainfall totals, could have very low rainfall totals. All depends on the shower and thunderstorm positioning. Further westwards, more likely to see more persistent rain. So more, higher chance really of quite moderate to high precipitation levels. Now, if you do have a look at those max temperatures, you'll be able to see it is not too bad over the next 5 days, but it is all dependent on where the precipitation does sit. Today, again, widely low to mid-20s, 23, 24, maybe 25 degrees in a few spots. And as we head towards Friday, similar temperatures perhaps in the east, maybe 26 or 27 degrees. So yeah, still very warm air mass there, but further north and westwards, high teens, much cooler as we do have that precipitation moving in. As we head towards Saturday, again, you can see those temperatures perhaps rising to 24, 25 degrees in the east, but further westwards, mid to low teens for some, maybe high teens in other areas, as we see that cooler air moving in. You can see all these areas of green and even lighter blues there, and that's just where the weather fronts are positioning. And this is why I said it all depends on where we see that heavier precipitation and thicker clouds. That will decide the temperatures. And the precipitation bands are not decided exactly where they're going to be positioned. So you may see 23 degrees on this chart, but you may actually only be 18 or 19 degrees because the precipitation is a bit more progressive than the UKB is making it out to be. So we'll just have to see exactly what happens, but yeah, cooler air where we do see the precipitation, warmer though when we do escape it. And into Sunday, you can see those temperatures still in the far east, maybe 23, 24, but still a lot of precipitation around, which will cool that down. And by Monday, could see 26 degrees in the east, but widely up and down temperatures, very up and down temperatures, all correlating where the precipitation does fall. So I wouldn't take these too literally, but if you do see sunshine through Saturday, Sunday, Monday time, even into Tuesday, you could see 25 degrees, but if you see a lot of thicker cloud, showers, thunderstorms, maybe only mid to high teens. So it is all dependent on where that precipitation does fall. So it is quite uncertain with these temperatures over the next 5 days. So if we do go over to the GFS run, and for all that's showing over the next couple of weeks. Now the 6 o'clock run hasn't loaded for some reason, only got the midnight run, but it is still pretty much up to date. And you can see as we run through, the low pressure system just parks to our west and eventually moves away by Monday before reintroducing itself for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, before eventually dissipating away. Still an area of instability, area of lower pressure, but not particularly vigorous low. So the wind speeds will die down a bit, and probably the organised precipitation will die down a bit, but still heavy showers and storms with that. Now we've got 2 ex-tropical systems out in the North Atlantic here. It'll be very interesting to see what happens to those. And you do see one just to our south and our west really spins up and pushes into the UK before dissipating away on arrival. Now this is a good 10 plus days in advance, but you can see that these runs are still appearing to show some very unsettled weather potentially, and again more low pressure system just parking itself towards the UK. Now after you run it back and have a look at the United Kingdom look for this, and have a look at those wind speeds, you can see extremely strong wind speeds arrive there. Sustained winds of 30, 40, 50 knots, that's very, very strong. And again, if we have a look at the wind gusts, Again, you can see 80, 90, maybe even 100 km/h wind gusts there. So again, 60, 70 mile per hour wind speeds, wind gusts. So really quite strong, and I wouldn't be surprised to see yellow or amber warnings issued if we did see wind gusts of that level in early September. So we'll have to see how it does play out, but there is still this risk of seeing localized low pressure systems moving in the mid-range. Doesn't look likely through Monday or Tuesday at this time, but perhaps beyond that. And again, things can chop and change very, very quickly. Now, one thing I do also want to have a look at is the accumulation of precipitation. Now, you can see minimal precipitation at the moment, and even as we head towards early hours of Sunday, you can see the precipitation only really falling in western areas, and maybe the odd few millimetres here or there through early hours of Sunday for some showers and thunderstorms. But it's beyond that accumulation really starts to build up, and this is why I said in around 10 days' time, widely 25 to 50 millimetres across most of England, Wales, Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland and Scotland. Locally maybe slightly lower than that across maybe Northern England, and across western parts could see 50 to 100 millimetres or even higher in some spots. And if we do skip right to 384 hours, look at that. Some areas seeing 100 to 200 millimetres of rain, widely 25 to 50 millimetres or even higher. So looks likely we're going to see quite a lot of precipitation over the next 15 days or so. Again, it is not going to play out exactly like this, but the West is definitely going to be seeing a lot of rainfall, and any rainfall deficits at this stage I think are going to be made up in the West over the next couple of weeks. The East, I doubt it will be completely made up, but I do think we're going to put a good dent into it, and we are going to be seeing around average or at least above average rainfall for the first week or two of September, which we do really need at this stage. Again, though, I must stress it is convection based, so we still do have a lot of uncertainty with it. Now, if we run for the GEM run, see what that is doing over the next couple of weeks or next 10 days or so. Again, low pressure parking to our west, just sitting over the top of us, eventually just giving us really unsettled conditions. And as we're towards day 10, we do see a low pressure system run in. Really, really unsettled for next Saturday, the 10th of September. An ex-tropical system there, spinning up from the North Atlantic, giving us very unsettled, stormy conditions. Again, zoom into the United Kingdom. Look, we can't have a look at the wind gusts here, but on the approach, look at that, just on its eastern edge, getting off the charts in terms of sustained winds. Above 50 knots sustained winds. That's tropical storm sustained winds there. That is really, really quite intense. Again, this would be a named storm. This would have yellow and amber warnings, perhaps even red warnings associated with this. Intense. And again, look at the precipitation with that. You can see very heavy precipitation moving through with that. And again, if we have a look at the accumulated precipitation through day 10, again, that widespread 25 to 50 millimetres, and some areas, especially in the south, the west and parts of Scotland, perhaps 50 to 100 millimetres, and even a lot higher across parts of Wales, southwest England, parts of the Republic of Ireland, seeing maybe 100 to 200 millimetres. Exceptionally high levels. Again, the highest will be over the hills, but just widespread very high rainfall totals, as I said, really going to make up that deficit. So that is one good positive coming from this. Yes, it's going to be not particularly nice out there. Yes, it's going to be pretty horrible. You're not going to be able to do many outdoor plans, but it is going to make up for that rainfall deficit, and hopefully it does mean that we can move out of those hosepipe bans soon, and hopefully it means that we won't have any more issues with or at least it will lower the chances of us having hosepipe band issues in the longer range, i.e. within the next year, towards next summer. Because if we did see average or below average rainfall over the next 6 months or so, then we would be in big trouble next summer. Not hosepipe bans coming into force in August or September, but coming into force in June or July. So yeah, this is a good sign that hopefully we do start to see some above average rainfall months, as we have had very low below average rainfall over the last 6 months. So hopefully this is a sign of change. Again, rainfall is not the most enjoyable thing. Of course, we love dry, warm, and nice weather to enjoy outside, but we do need the rain, and this is good that we are seeing it now. Now, if you look at the ECMWF run, see how that does compare over the next 10 days. Again, high pressure in control, but low pressure runs in very quickly and just spins low pressure systems within us, and eventually moves away by next Thursday, but still is close by, giving us a lot of heavy showers and storms, even though it does fill in. And right towards day 10, we could see that low pressure run in, but it's on a bit more of a southerly track, so we have to keep an eye on that on day 10. So all the runs keeping low pressure around us or close by from day 7 onwards in the mid-range, with us staying very unsettled, and perhaps around that day 10 range we see an ex-hurricane or ex-tropical system perhaps push in from the west. Again, its track is going to be very uncertain, but yeah, very interesting seeing that today. And again, if we do zoom into the United Kingdom, have a look at the accumulated precipitation. Again, widely 25 to 50 millimetres, some areas seeing 50 to 100 or even higher. The ECMWF Run is a little bit more pessimistic on precipitation amounts, maybe a little bit less widely, but still average to above average in most places in terms of precipitation. More in the next week to 10 days than we've had all summer in some areas. So yeah, very good for the gardeners and for getting our water levels back up. So if you finish the video by having a look at the ensembles, if you start on the GFS ensembles, again you can see warm over the next week or so, above average temperatures, but a lot of precipitation is starting in the next few days, and especially from around Monday to Wednesday time in the east and the south and the southeast in general for London. Very, very high precipitation amounts. Again, it is convection based, so the ensembles are not going to deal with the exact precipitation amounts that well, but they are going to be getting the frequency quite well, and you can see mid to longer range looking very unsettled as well. Perhaps mid to long range as well, the temperatures are more towards average, maybe above, maybe below, as there is uncertainty, but still looking pretty unsettled. And again, you look at the sea level pressure over the next couple of weeks, generally quite low. The next week, perhaps rising slightly towards the 10th to 12th of September, but still plenty keeping us around or lower than sort of mean sea level pressure. And if we do have a look at the ECMWF ensembles, again, warm over the next week or so with very high precipitation amounts, and those precipitation amounts continuing massively all the way through to the middle of September. So no sign of any let-up, no sign of any real high pressure from the ECMWF ensembles, and generally around average on temperature values as well. Some below average, some above average, but nothing too crazy. So yeah, looking very unsettled over the next couple of weeks. Some will love this, good for the gardens, good for getting us out of these drought conditions, perhaps stopping those hose pipe bans within the next few weeks, but others, of course, who really love summer, would love September to continue in the warm, dry theme we've had recently. Doesn't look good for that. So anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you stay safe out there over the next week or so. There is going to be issues with winds. There's going to be issues with rain, thunderstorms, and potentially localised flooding. So do stay safe out there and don't take any unnecessary risks. So as I said, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.